Hi everyone, welcome to ELI, the place where you get your daily dose of inspiration for entrepreneurship. And today we have with us Mr. Bhavin Patel and Dipesh Karki, who are the founders of LenDenClub, which is a peer-to-peer lending platform. Hi Bhavin and Dipesh, welcome to ELI.
Hi Priya. Thanks, Priya.
I would request both of you to introduce yourself to our audience, please. We'll start with Bhavin.
Yep, sure. So they already introduced us. The majority of our career we have spent in building lending club. Beyond that, there are certain years which I have spent in financial services, building couple of companies and raising capital so that we can distribute that money to borrowers in country, especially in asset classes like two-wheeler loans, microfinance loan, commercial vehicle loans, and especially tier 2, 3 cities. Before that, I have been engineer and avid footballer, handball player, and basketball player. Have been sports person throughout my life till date.
Okay.
Dipesh?
So that's where the match is, to be honest, right? We both are avid sports person, although we are just semi-pro or just a little above the amateur ones.
Okay.
Unlike Bhavin, I come from purely a technical background wherein I started my career working with multiple industries, government, private, right? Small scale, big scale, some of the important government related projects, etc., etc. And both of us have tried out hand in entrepreneurship before starting LenDenClub. So both of us have this stint of trying serial entrepreneurship. That's why we have a good mojo of taking LenDenClub together up till now. So just like Bhavin takes care of the business part, I take care of technology at LenDenClub. And over the last more than 6.5 years, we've been growing in the same way.
Tell us about LenDenClub, what it is about, what is the platform about, and who are the different stakeholders who are benefiting from this platform.
So LenDenClub is a new age banking platform wherein we have people who brings capital on the platform, like you called yourself as a depositor in case of bank customer who brings capital to the. And then we have another party who comes to us to avail the loan. So we are a technology platform which connects both of these parties. So we play a role like an exchange, right? Wherein this exchange evaluates the borrower who is coming to the platform in all possible digital checks, credit underwriting, risk analysis, etc. And once that borrower is approved, that is being matched with and number of investors available on the platform. So we could be called as quasi bank. We could be called as an exchange of investors and a borrower who comes on the same ground to exchange money between each other.
Okay. What happens when the borrower is not paying back? What is the mechanism that works, and how is it different from banks?
So see, it's all about how those processes are created, right? In any lending business, it's a normal process that you get customer loan application, you evaluate the loan application, and then customer pays back the money. So that process remains the same. The only difference between us and bank is that we are 100% digital. Everything is being managed through digital, whether it is assessment of the customer, onboarding of the customer, or taking the money back or collecting the money back. So it's more of a process difference or the execution difference rather than actual originality of the process.
Okay.
So we go ahead with the same way. However, these processes are completely digitally managed. So for example, in case of bank or traditional lenders, you will find that so many staff members are available to call people. So many people are available on the field who goes and visit the customer premises to collect the money back. So that you don't find those kind of infrastructure or practice in case of LenDenClub. So there is a huge execution difference between bank and us, and that's the reason if you look at our overall operational cost structure, we operate at around 3% operational cost. And if you look at bank or traditional lenders, they operate at 8 to 10% of operational.
Okay. One question that comes to my mind is, what is the problem statement we are solving that bank is not solving?
So see, this problem statement is, huge in a nature. It goes in down in the history. So when I started my first job in 2008, I got introduced to a completely new business terminology called securitization way back then. So in the first year, I met with a lot of mutual fund who used to invest money into securitized debt. I met with a lot of companies who originate securitized debt. So one colleague of mine and I started a small consulting business where we were helping small NBFC raising capital through securitization route. So we ran that for 3 years. Post that, I joined one of my client company, raised capital for them. And during those 2008 to 14, there was one consistent problem which I was facing with whomever I was interacting in the lending industry. That each and every finance company, NBFCs in India, is continuously starving for capital. Now they are too much dependent on bank capital because they can't go directly into the market and raise capital because those instruments are not developed in India. They are 100% dependent on banking capital, and there are so many changes in the bank regulations, NBFC regulations, which comes from the RBI side. There are so many policy changes which comes from the bank side. कि 2008 का क्राइसिस हो गया तो अभी पॉलिसी चेंज कर दो, एनबीएफसी को पैसा नहीं देंगे. 2010 में रेगुलेशन चेंज हुआ तो एनबीएफसी को पैसा नहीं देंगे. तो I mean, are we expecting these lending businesses to think about more product, more efficient operations, how to penetrate the market and give more loans to people, or are we expecting them just to struggle on the capital front? So if there is no raw material available in the business, how will you make the finished goods, right? So here the raw material is money. If you don't get money, how can you give that money to any of your customer? So there was a huge fundamental issue in the lending ecosystem in India, that the 100% capital flow of in the lending market was coming via banking system. So if you are dependent too much on one system, definitely other systems will start faltering, and that was what going on in the market. So our idea was, how can we reduce this dependency, or how can we come up with a new model which can solve this particular problem? And that's how we adopted or thought about coming up with a P2P concept, wherein we can go to the market and anybody like you and me can act like a bank, bring capital to the platform, and that money is being used in giving loans to the borrowers coming to the platform.
Speaking of platform, Dipesh, can you tell us how is the platform designed in terms of what are the different modules and who are the different stakeholders involved in the platform?
So Bhavin gave a small overview of the type of customers that interact on the platform, right? So it's a purely a digital platform. So we started as a physical platform wherein there were some processes that was partly digital and some processes were physical. But eventually we moved the entire platform to a digital space wherein a borrower who is looking for a loan can come to the platform, apply for a loan and complete the entire applications within 5 minutes. Post that, the customer gets a real-time feed of what is happening to the applications of a borrower. They can see whether the underwriting is through or not, whether the customer's loan is in disbursement process or not, whether the loan is credited to the customer's account or not, right? And this funding process or this live customer, the loan that the customer is looking for, can be seen by investors that are active in the platform. Investors like you and me, any individuals who are looking to make earn revenue, earn return from an alternate source of investment. Today, LenDenClub is considered by majority of youngsters, right, who are looking for a different avenue rather than the traditional FD and mutual funds, right? So those kind of customers come to the platform to see these loans that are available at a very reasonable rate and with a proper transparency of where the money is going, how the money is being collected, how the money is being traced back to the system. And that's how the customers interact in the platform. And the platform is made purely using a lot of digital, the modern age technology stacks, such as we work majorly with Django Python on the back end, React and React Native on the front end. So we always keep on trying to innovate our technology platform every now and then. We keep on trying something new with the data, some new analytics solutions that are available out there. Right? So that's something that we keep on doing.
Tell us a bit about the initial days of starting LenDenClub. What were the first few things that you did to start this venture, and who were the people who came together to build this?
So I give you the first start, or how did we, think about coming up with Lenin Club, and what were the initial months were look like, and possibly Dipesh can tell you beyond that. So see, when this, as I said, the struggle which I saw in the overall lending ecosystem that inspired me to think about this. However, the idea was very clear that if India has to see huge growth in the lending market over next 10 to 15 years, things have to move on technology, which US was already seeing in last 10 years time period, the first decade of this century, right? So view was very clear that I understand finance structures, instruments. I definitely need somebody who can be a good co-founder, right? So I started looking for possible person who can be co-founders. So I reached out to many people. I spoke to many guys in my network, etc. A couple of time I reached to a close consensus as well that okay, this guy can become possible a co-founder, etc. So I asked one of my engineering friend to speak to the guy, and you won't believe that both of them started fighting over the call itself.
Okay.
Ki, this technology will work, this will not work. I said, boss, you guys are here to just understand whether this person will be able to justify the job or not, because I'm not a technical guy. But then it made me realize that this role is very critical, and I'll have to be more conscious about who becomes a co-founder, right? Because here we are not talking about something for a year or two. Here it's an association of at least a decade or more.
Mm.
So who will be there? Who will show that resilience? Who will be that bearing that belief that yes, at one day we will succeed, and probably then this business will be like as huge as HDFC Bank or Kotak Bank, etc. Right. So as a last resort, when I was not able to find people, I started sending messages on all WhatsApp group where I was part of. So Dipesh and I used to play football together in the same group. So ultimately, I sent message here as well. So वो हिंदी में बोलते हैं ना कि भागते भूत की लंगोटी वाली, तो भाई अच्छा चलो ये भी ट्राई कर लेते हैं. So ultimately one day I sent message, and then Dipesh and I came along, sat together, discuss about it. He was also coming out of his previous co-founded product, and then yeah, we worked together for 5-6 months, and ultimately we decided that yes, let's go ahead with co-founding this venture. Dipesh, anything to add?
Yes, of course. That is pretty much like Bhavin mentioned, right? So since we both were trying our hands in entrepreneurship, one thing that we both knew was, say, it's never about your pride or my pride when it comes to entrepreneurship. It's always about the vision that you have. Right? We both wanted to solve a very simple problem in a magnanimous way. That is simply bringing borrowers and lenders to a digital platform, right? So fighting over a technology was definitely not the solution back then. What we did was when we started this product as a first prototype, we did with the traditional technology that was available back then. Eventually, when Bhavin and I sat together to innovate this product further, we realized that there used to be so many automations to move from 80% physical and 20% digital to a 90% digital and 10% physical. So that's when we thought, hey, we need to do our prototyping much faster, look for a technology that can bring in a change or a solution that we want right away at fingertips, right? So there were times wherein Bhavin used to go out in the market and think, okay, this is a painstaking problem. Just a small example that I can cite is signing a NASH form, customer's mandate, or signing an agreement. In fact, right now, signing an agreement is a very tedious process. You had Bhavin had to stand on a line in queue to get it signed from the banks, etc., to make the mandate legally valid, right? So we digitize that process right within a week. of conceptualizing it, right? Bhavin said, hey, this is something that we have to do digitally, and this is the solution available. Because we had chosen a cutting edge technology back then, we thought, okay, we can do it overnight. There was some back and forth because of the traditional processes. Because of it, it took us 1 week, but that was really a fast turnaround time for us. In fact, our initial payment gateway integration took us only 3 days to go live. So such were the kind of calls that we used to take back then, and we still take such kind of calls throughout the departments, regardless of the knowledge or experience in technology that a particular department may or may not have. We always think technology first.
When you build a platform, it's very difficult to onboard the initial set of users or stakeholders on it. And for a platform, there is always a two side of it. One is the demand side and the supply side. And when you have supply, then only demand builds up. When you have demand, then supply builds up. It's a chicken and egg problem. So can you tell us, how did you achieve that? How did you onboard the first set of people to call it a minimum viable platform?
So for the first platform, as Dipesh said, we outsourced that because the idea was to go in the market as quickly as possible, right? And that remains our motto today as well. That if we think that this can be done, we think how quickly we can take this product to the market in MVP way or maybe a full-fledged feature way or product way. So that time we created certain workflows, etc. In the at a product level, we got it converted via Mighty Company and launched it. Initially, we started pushing ourselves among our friend circle, etc. At the same time, we started promoting this little bit on Facebook. So Dipesh and I had very little idea about different ways of digital marketing, etc. So whatever we understood at that point in time, we started doing those, and we thought Facebook, because we practically used to use that very on a regular basis at that point in time. We thought Facebook could be a good way to reach out to more people, and they will come to know about what we do. So we started getting initial customers, initial people who would be interested in investing money or taking loan. So in the uh, first month, we got around 20-25 customers on the borrower side as well as investor side. And by end of second month, we disbursed one successful loan, wherein there were around 2-3 investors who participated in that loan. I think the amount was around 50,000. So it took around 58-60 days for us to disburse the first loan. And then from third month onwards, we used to disburse 2-3 loans, and then it kept continuously growing up. And today it's like more than a lakh loan, which we do on a monthly basis.
Okay. Any pivots that you have done to your business model or to your platform?
Not a major one. So definitely there will be some changes here and there, the way processes are run or the way customer uses our product. But no major changes. From the very first day when we started this company, on 2nd of August 2015, we launched our first version of the web platform. Since then until date, we still cater to salaried customer segment, and we continue originating unsecured loans. We continue operating in pure play P2P model since then. Again, there are a couple of products which we added in between. Like now we do small ticket size merchant loans as well, wherein we go as high as 1.5 lakh rupees loan for small businesses who are like kirana shops or some person who is selling some goods to retail customers. But there is no major pivot which we have done.
What are some of the major challenges that you have faced along the way while building and growing this venture?
So those keep changing. Like, see, when we try to hire our first set of teammates, the biggest challenge was that you don't have office space also. How will you hire and how people will trust you? And again, today, startups and working out of house or working out of cafe has become little bit of fashion. But way back then, it wasn't so exciting thing, right? So when we offered first job to someone else whom we were not knowing, first thing we had to do was to arrange an office. So at that point in time, that challenge was there for 10 days. That how will you arrange an office with just some thousands worth of cost, and you don't require seat for many people. So maybe for 5, 6, 7 guys. So we tried to speak to many of our friends as well that if you have extra space, can we share it with you guys? But nothing worked out, and ultimately we had to arrange a space, and we shifted that and there, and then we started building our initial team. So time to time challenges are of many types, and specifically when we talk about journey, those challenges changes, right? So today, I mean, we definitely talk only about two parties there. That one is investor. If we will not bring capital, how we will deploy, and if investor gets capital, and if we don't have borrowers, how they will be able to get money. But point is, this is the last challenge which we face. Before that, there are so many things. Likewise, Dipesh also mentioned one of that. That the most important part was how to digitize the processes, how to digitize something which was not digital way back then. Signing of agreement, signing of ECS form or NACH forms, doing KYC part of the customers. Right. So how to do those were much larger challenges. Fortunately, I would say that on the supply and the demand side, we were reasonably or pretty fine. At some particular point in time, we used to face little bit of challenge, but those challenges were not permanent or long lasting. So let's say for a couple of days we have less capital but more borrowers, or for a couple of days we will have more borrowers and less capital. But mota moti, we were able to manage both the sides efficiently.
What would you say are some of the growth hacks that worked really well for you or your business?
So growth hacks were mainly, I mean, these simple funda I follow, and probably majority of our team also follow, is that if you see some problem, just try to get till the root cause of the problem, right? And once you understand the root cause, then probably you have a solve. So for example, I mean, one incident I can quote you, like we were the first platform in India who launched an app wherein you can go and avail loan up to 10,000 rupees only. So at that point in time, not other companies were offering it. Generally, people used to offer like start from 25,000, go up to 5 lakh, start from 20,000, go up to 2 lakh, etc., etc. But we thought, let's launch something which is not available in the market. So we came up with the product that it will give loan only 5,000 rupees to 10,000 rupees. Now we wanted to launch this product within 30 days time period. Now how to do? That time we had just 2 3 developers, and one guy was very junior. He had experience of couple of months developing a app product. So Dipesh, I and my product guy were sitting and thinking, what can be done? How can we go live so quickly? So the hack which we found was we already had one personal loan application. So we thought, let's fit this new product also on the same app. Just create small wrapper so that some screens are different, and then probably we can do it. Then also we faced a couple of more challenges in between, but we ensured that whatever targets were there, we could launch our app within those days. So see, when you try to see the purpose of doing that task, generally you get solution. Then when we were scaling up that product, we face many challenges, that how you manage the cost of acquisition. So today also on an average, we earn 650 rupees per loan when we first time disburse a loan to a customer. Now, how to manage efficiency at 650 rupees, that you acquire the customer, originate the loan and disburse it. And by doing that, you are still remaining unit positive, or you are profitable from the very first day. So it was a really very daunting and challenging task. So we first thought that, okay, let's scale this product up to a couple of thousand loans. And then we start looking at what all cost cutting can be done. How can we reach out to more efficient people? So I would say the most important part was to keep working behind that particular target. That our target was to be unit positive. So we continuously kept looking for it, and within 6 months of our launch, we were running unit positive business, and till today, we continue doing that. So, I mean, there are no hacks which will last for longer. Hacks are only there to give you little bit of mileage or, help you for a month or two. But in a long term, you definitely have to focus on the root cause and how will you solve it in a longer term.
Okay. Now this question is to both of you. Can you tell us why entrepreneurship and how entrepreneurship? Can you tell us why you have chosen the path of entrepreneurship and why you still continue at it? And what triggered you to jump into this path?
Dipesh, go on.
So see, entrepreneurship is not a designation to take, right? So this is one problem that both Bhavin and I could correlate to, right? It was a small problem statement wherein in our families also our parents usually lend money here and there, right? And there is always a trouble of getting the money back on time. And contrary to that, there are some practices wherein there are lenders that charge quite exorbitant amount. So this is a general practice that has been existing in India and Indian subcontinent over a long period of time. We just thought maybe this is one economic segment that deserves to be in a digital space. So we wanted to bring in that financial inclusion, and that's why we took up this idea of LenDenClub. It's just that entrepreneurship came as a tag along with it, is what I can tell. Now, uh, so that was the first part to your question, right? Second part was see, Bhavin and I, we both believe in action rather than just following a long lending processes and just waiting for results to come back somewhere other way, right? So at least in my case, this happened that there was one point in time wherein I was working for a traditional organization, and I could not digest the fact that a certain process took so much time in order to get executed. So I thought maybe this is not how I'll be able to exist. I think I need to try something of my own wherein I could expedite something that I really want to do. So that's when Bhavin and I discussed a lot, and we said, hey, let's work day and night. And there was one point of time wherein we used to work 3 hours a day for almost 6-7 months and just work every Saturday, every Sunday, go for a football match, come back again, sleep for an hour, again work for it. Right? That's how we launched LenDenClub within first 3 months of our engagement, and launched another version within the next 6 months of our engagement again. Right. So that's how entrepreneurship happened.
So
What would
Priya,
happen? Yeah.
situation is little different in case of mine. See, I come from teacher's family. In fact, Dipesh also. So his parents are also teachers. My parents were also teacher. Now all of them are retired, but we share similar kind of family background. However, since I was a kid, I would look forward to run my own business. So when I was a kid, like when I was in seventh, eighth, my uncle used to run medical shop. So way back then, I proposed him a business that why don't we do one thing? Whoever is our regular customer, every month we will deliver certain number of things to his house. So the idea was how to capture business. So if that guy comes to buy something, he sees other shops as well, and possibly he will buy something from that shop and then come to our shop to buy certain specific thing. So how to grab that more business from our own customers. I did not know that this model can be called as e-commerce way back then. But that was the kind of things I always kept thinking about. When I was in engineering, between three of us, I had two very close friends then, one of whom I lost last year in the second wave of Corona. So our dream was very clear. By 2013, we will have some business. We didn't know what business we will do, but dream was clear that okay, we'll have some or the other business. And I started one in 2008-9 itself. Right, so it was like achieving the target earlier than when you were envisaging to achieve. So for myself, I would say I am a guy who always think that if I can pass on this idea to somebody and that person can help me execute that, amazing. Right, we can execute that faster. But if that cannot be done, then possibly I will be happy to jump into it and become an executor myself. So when I started my first business, that idea was given to somebody else. He did not like to execute. I took up the challenge and did. Even for LenDenClub, I wanted somebody else to execute the idea. I wanted to give the idea and let that person take ahead. but he did not believe into it. So I thought, let me take up the challenge. It's another opportunity for me, and let's see how it shapes up. And again, I was very confident that this is going to be the future of banking as well as lending in India. So there was no second thought about it.
My final question to both of you. In one or two sentences, tell us what is the definition of entrepreneurship for you?
So entrepreneurship is to identify gaps available in the market and just focus on solving those gaps. Don't lose the sight what you started with, and just keep focusing on how we can resolve that particular problem. Nothing else comes into the way. Whether you become a successful entrepreneur or not, that's something else. But when we say entrepreneurship, this is what we believe, and that is how internally at LenDenClub also we promote entrepreneurship, saying that you are entrepreneur. You have to identify gaps in the company, in the processes, in the delivery of services to customer, and resolve those.
I think it's my view is pretty much similar to that of Bhavin, right? I also strongly believe that entrepreneurship is not about doing something flamboyant. It's about taking a small problem, a small gap that you see in your ecosystem, and solving it in a big way, right? So that a new industry or a new market can be defined based on what you've solved there, right? New opportunities can be created. There are a lot of disciplines that requires for someone to be an entrepreneur. The first one is never give up. Second is be loyal to yourself and be loyal to whoever you are working with. And third, and the most important one is always keep learning and reinventing yourself.
Well, on this note, I think we have come to the end of the session. Thanks for your time, Bhavin and Dipesh, and our best wishes for LenDenClub.
Thanks,
Thanks, Priya.
Priya. It was lovely talking
Bye.
to you.